Heard the rumors about Barack Obama's citizenship? These are the facts. The Constitution requires the president to be a natural-born citizen. Obama's grandmother said she was there when Barack was born in Kenya. Obama refuses to release his original birth certificate. Instead of a birth certificate, Obama's campaign posted a certification given to those born abroad. Experts have called even that document an obvious forgery. Obama attended school in Indonesia as Barry Sotoro, when only Indonesian citizens were permitted to attend. Obama's school records list his father as Lolo Sotoro, and Obama's citizenship as Indonesian. Obama traveled to Pakistan in 1981, when it was illegal to enter as a U.S. citizen. 16 lawsuits and 2 cases before the Supreme Court now challenge Obama's citizenship. Fact: our Constitution still matters.
Having said that, in the midst of the trial, there was evidence presented that crimes had taken place, that lies had been told and documents falsified. That information is contained within the minutes of the trial, and they have been certified by the court as to be falsification of records, criminal acts that have taken place, lies at the point of racketeering that have gone on in the life of Mr. Barack Obama. And now that the court has spoken, the verdict has been rendered. As in any verdict and in any court, the records become court certified, and by that they become adjudicated as just and true unless they are appealed. So what the court has deemed in this trial is that our statements of falsifying of records, of racketeering, wire fraud, mail fraud, conspiracy, are indeed true bills, certified and found to be true by a court, and therefore can be appealed, but certainly not to be dismissed. They are binding. At this point, we, following the structure of the U.S. Constitution and with the greatest respect for our judiciary and all of its laws, we recognize as officers of the court of we the people, under the protection of the Constitution, the 10th Amendment, we do not have the power to arrest, imprison, or to fine. And like any other court, this matter must be handed over to the appropriate authorities, and they will make the determination about arrest, about imprisonment, and about a fine. But be you well advised that what we have done is indeed legal and now binding. It is my intent within the next few days to submit the findings of this trial and court to the U.S. House of Representatives, the appropriate committee, pardon me, as recommended by the jury foreman. We're going to take the transcript of this trial to the U.S. Congress and present them with our findings and the verdict. And we will request that the U.S. Congress, Justice Department, will act upon our submission of such information. Now, we will also take the same findings of this trial and present them to the National Board of Schools Accreditations, to the New York State entity of incorporated activities or businesses, and to other organizations that are governing bodies of the education system regarding Columbia University. We will submit to the National Schools Board of Accreditations that Columbia has been found guilty in a duly authorized trial of committing fraud, falsifying documents, and committing wire and mail fraud. And we will request that such a board would review and would suspend under review Columbia University's license to practice education until they can determine the results of this trial. But mind you, we will not relent until there is a full investigation of this verdict that Columbia University has now been adjudged a criminal organization, a criminal activity organization at the level of the RICO statute, where they have been involved in continual racketeering, and that they do not have the right to further educate. We will further submit to the Board of Accreditations in Schools and licensing of the Education Institution of Columbia University that the matter that we have adjudicated would indicate that Columbia University, that they have been involved since the year 1981 in issuing false instruments. And therefore, it would be the request of this prosecuting attorney that either Columbia University as an institution be completely shut down, and or that every diploma issued over the last 29 years will be fully investigated as to whether or not that diploma has met the standards and practices that are prescribed in the boards of accreditations, standards and procedures. That Columbia University should not be able to operate having committed the heinous crimes or the grievous crimes they have committed of fraud, and that Mr. Michael Sovereign would be no longer allowed to teach. Indeed, it would be the decisions of the prosecutor from Congress to imprison him. We have been, throughout this process, we gave Columbia University and Mr. Obama the opportunity to come and to defend themselves. Of course, they chose not to. Again, we wish to state that the matter that is before us, as you are going to report, is no longer about the trial. The trial has been had. The verdict has been rendered. The matter now becomes an issue of constitutional rights. That is to say, does the Constitution provide an opportunity for the people to report crimes to the appropriate authorities? And if the people discover that crimes have been committed and they duly report such crimes to the appropriate authorities, do they have the right to do that? And if such crimes are reported, does the Constitution protect people who report crimes? Or whether or not the authorities to whom those crimes will be reported, such as the U.S. Congress, the Justice Department, the schools accreditation boards, and others, will simply say, you have no right. You're not an official. You're not a police officer. So therefore, you can't report a crime. Only police officers are empowered with the ability to report crimes. Well, you and I know that if they attempt to make that argument, it's not going to go very far. We have a guilty verdict of Barack Obama Michael Sofrin, and Columbia University. We have a guilty verdict. The trial is over with. We're not appealing the case. This is not an attempt to try the case over again. The case has been tried. What we see before us at present is now a constitutional issue as to whether or not the Congress, the judiciary, the Justice Department, and others will execute the verdict of this trial. And that ought to be an interesting dynamic to watch their response.